blowing down the canyons and mountain passes of Southern California.
It's created by a high pressure over Utah and a low pressure off the coast of California. As it comes through the mountain canyons of Los Angeles, it increases its velocity, and it's a perfect condition for a rapid fire spread.
Known as the devil winds, Santa Anas serve as the life's blood of wildfires, providing them with both oxygen and energy. These conditions were all at play in November of 1993, when an arsonist's match ignited one of the worst firestorms in Southern California history. Thousands of acres and hundreds of homes were destroyed by the out-of-control blaze.
If you can imagine what a hurricane is like, wind and the rain blowing horizontal and everything coming apart and tree limbs flying through the air, well, the same things happen in a firestorm, only it's fire instead of water. And the fire is in such intensity that it's sucking the oxygen out of the air also, so it's very difficult to breathe. Someplace you don't want to be.
But sometimes, the men and women who battle these out-of-control blazes find themselves helplessly caught in the eye of the storm. Such was the case in 1993 for 18-year-old Gabe Larios and 24-year-old Chris Barth. On August 20th, Larios and Barth and 6 other Los Angeles County firefighters were deployed from a helicopter to a hillside above a fast-moving blaze in Altadena, California. Suddenly, they found themselves engulfed in a wall of flames.
The smoke hit us real bad. Then I kind of fell down straight into the hill, covering my face, and the hill flashed over on us.
The men were trapped in a savage inferno, capable of melting flesh from the bone.
It was deafening when the fire hit. People explained it like a freight train or, a jet taking off. And I remember opening my eyes and looking, and it was just bright orange. And I just remember being like, whoa, it kicked in that, I was actually being burned.
Gabe and Chris barely escaped with their lives. Each sustained 2nd and 3rd degree burns over nearly half of their bodies. But they were among the lucky ones. 2 of their fellow crew members, Chris Herman and Art Ruska, perished in the flames.
I found out that Chris Herman and Art Ruska had died. I still, I'm having difficulty talking about it. I lost a loved one.
I've never visited their grave sites, and I never went to the funeral, so in the back of my mind, I still picture them as somewhere else. I haven't quite come to grip with their loss.
For most firefighters or police officers, there's nothing worse than when one of their own goes down. They're killed in the line of duty. This is a very traumatic event because every firefighter can identify with that individual. There but for the grace of God go he or she. Every time they walk into the eye of the hurricane or into the midst of that fire, they have to put the threat of danger in the background, because if it was in the foreground, they couldn't concentrate on what they had to do. But when one of their own is killed or severely injured, all of a sudden, that normal defense mechanism of it being in the background is dropped and it's in the foreground, and now the sense of danger of what they're doing is right there, right in their face, right between their eyes.
The raging power of a wildfire has an equally out-of-control natural brother in the form of deadly flash floods. Every year, they kill thousands of people, drive millions from their homes, and destroy billions of dollars worth of property. Flash floods spare no one and no place. They can happen anywhere, on city streets, rural streams, or mountain canyons.
A flash flood occurs anytime we have extremely heavy rain over a very short length of time. And it can come sometimes from just rapidly melting snow upstream and creating such a mass of water that it's not able to be absorbed by the soil, so it begins to run off rapidly into a stream or a river. So we end up with a wall of water that, if we get caught in its path, it can be deadly.
In 1997, the normally dry Skunk Creek Wash outside of Phoenix, Arizona, was turned into a raging river by a severe storm system that dropped more than 3 inches of rain in less than 2 hours. Rescuers were called to the scene of a stranded car caught in the flash flood. The driver was trapped inside, unable to open her doors against the incredible force of the quickly rising water. A helicopter was brought in, and Phoenix firefighter Ron Cummings was deployed onto the sinking car in a desperate attempt to save the trapped driver. Although the storm that caused the flood had long passed, the surging water continued to rise and gain speed. Time was of the essence. Finally, Cummings managed to help the cold, wet, and extremely frightened driver, young Tran, onto the skids of the chopper. And both the rescuer and victim were airlifted to dry ground. Young Tran later told authorities that she had no idea of the dangerous situation that she had driven into as she crossed Skunk Creek Wash.
Traumatic events can shatter our beliefs, our assumptions. If I believe that the world is an orderly, predictable place, and I'm involved in an out-of-order, chaotic event, then my belief is shattered. People are amazingly resilient. Less than 10 to 20% of us who are exposed to some type of life-threatening or out-of-control event will develop what we call post-traumatic stress reactions or disorder. The majority of individuals, in fact, over 80% of us, will do just fine and recover fairly well from that event.
Volcanoes. They are as old as time itself and can unleash energy equivalent to 25,000 atomic bombs. Throughout the centuries, flowing lava and choking ash from massive eruptions have wiped out cities and entire civilizations. But despite the overwhelming destructive nature of these explosive giants, they are an essential part of the continuing evolution of our planet.
The Earth contains a very large amount of heat, which is trying to escape the planet. It does so in various ways, one of which is through volcanic conduits. There are various types of volcanoes. Volcanoes that produce primarily running lava build up